And it is time for Building Rural Wealth this morning. Dan Miller with us. Dan, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing well. Nice to see you. And Amy Shipley. Amy, how are you?
I'm good, Aaron.
So, harvest lesson. So, what does farming teach us about finances? So, I'm kind of looking forward to this, Dan. What are we talking about here?
Well, a lot of people probably know that, I'm an old farm kid from way, way back, still have farming interests, still have family that farms, of course. And Denise and I talk about it, once you're on the farm, you're never off the farm. And of course, Amy and her husband farm, and so just like harvest season's full of long days and unpredictable weather, which we're having a little bit of that today, and a lot of uncertainty, retirement planning can feel just like that too. And so the same lessons farmers rely on, patience, preparation, and timing, can also give us a clearer financial picture as well. So we thought we'd kind of tie that together a little bit today.
Well, let's start with that. Patience. You mentioned patience. So, Amy, patience. How does patience in farming compare to patience in investing and planning?
When you're a farmer, you have to have a lot of patience because you're waiting for your crops to grow. You're waiting for a rain to come. You're waiting for your part to be brought in. You might be waiting for, 9 months for that cow to have her calf. So having a lot of patience in farming goes right along with it. And the other thing in financial planning is having patience too. So you're not going to earn your first $1 million in a day unless you win the lottery, which I didn't the last time I looked. So you just have to learn to delay your gratification. Just like in farming, it takes months of work a lot of times before you see results. And so with that, there's a financial connection to that also. You may need to save for years before you see results in retirement. That's how building wealth works. And you need to stay patient. You have to have steady contributions over time to build wealth. Just like when you want quick results, you often get really discouraged. We all are built that way. It's just natural.
We want it now. We want it now.
Yes. Yesterday.
Yes. Even better.
Yes,
Even better.
We do.
Yes.
And when progress feels slow, that's really the time to, take a step back and know that your plan is going to work. Try not to get frustrated because the markets can be volatile. So with patience, growth will happen beneath the surface. So you think of it just like your roots growing. The roots grow on the crop before you ever see something come out of the ground and flourish.
Slow and steady. Patience. Have some patience. That's something we can all learn. So
that's a hard one for me sometimes.
Me too, Dan.
There you
me
go.
Too. Yeah. So preparation, that's the other thing you mentioned, Dan. So how does preparation reduce stress for both farmers and families planning for the future?
So there's always something that we have to prepare for. And, a farmer preps his field long before planting season. You got to secure the ground. You may have to visit with the NRCS and Farm Service to make sure that things are in line. Even before you buy some seed, make sure your equipment is in proper maintenance, seed selection, soil testing, all that stuff happens way ahead of time. So you got to prepare. And so just like when it comes to retirement planning, all those things take preparation ahead of time. Of course, we do a lot of financial planning with people, and that's all about preparation. And we tell people all the time that, the most oftentimes the most help that we can give to somebody is if we meet with them ahead of time, not the day before they're going to retire, but maybe 5 years before they're going to retire. So you can lay that groundwork, set that runway, so to speak, before you land that plane of retirement, and so without planning, oftentimes people face a lot of last minute stress, just like a farmer maybe runs out of fuel right in the middle of harvest, right out in the middle of the field. Many delay financial preparation because it feels overwhelming, and then sudden emergencies, force rush decisions, and you don't want that. You want to be as prepared as you can. And preparing early makes the harvest, and that harvest for a farmer is one thing, but for people looking to retire, it might be your retirement, your legacy, your business transition. All that preparation makes things go smoother and more rewarding, and we feel that a solid plan reduces that stress during unpredictable times. Over the years, we've met many business owners who came in feeling overwhelmed. Maybe tax season caught them off guard. you know, and oftentimes having a simple process put in place, their stress went away, or stress went way down at least, and they could focus on their retirement dreams or running their business instead of scrambling. And same with people that are getting ready to retire in a few months. You know, having that plan ahead of time can make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Very cool. Good information. So what about timing then, Amy? So why does, like to Dan's point, why does having a plan matter more when you're waiting, more than waiting for the perfect moment? Why does a plan matter? Why does that help?
Well, you know, for example, in farming, having the plan matters more than waiting for the perfect time, because if you, for example, plant too early or too late, your yields suffer. If you harvest too soon and your crops aren't ready and you wait too long, you risk losing them. So timing matters in decisions like when to retire, when to claim Social Security, when you might sell a business. And you can't time everything perfectly, but being aware will help you maximize your opportunities. Having a strategy in place means timing becomes a thoughtful decision, not just a guess. So even if the conditions aren't perfect, that plan means that you are prepared to act.
Okay. You mentioned patience, preparation, and timing. We've touched on those three items. So I want you to kind of put this all together for me, bring it together and wrap it up for me here.
You know, the unknowns of retirement and wealth planning can feel a lot like staring down storm clouds during harvest. You know, by leaning on patience, preparation, and timing, you know, now we'll never eliminate uncertainty 100%.
Sure.
You know, but you do set yourself up for the best possible outcome in many situations. You know, one of the things we talk about in our firm is controlling the controllables. You know, there are certain things that you cannot control. You know, I mean, we can't control what interest rates are going to do. You know, we can't control what the market movements are going to be. But we can control how much risk we're going to take. We can control the timing of our retirement. We can, you know, do our research. We can look at working with a financial advisory team that ties it, that looks at the big picture. So there are a lot of things that we can, you know, control. So controlling the controllables and lessening the effect of the things that we cannot control. So we really encourage our listeners to think about, you know, where do they need patience in their financial life? You know, what preparation and steps have they been putting off up to this point? And then also, what timing decisions are coming up in the next 1 to 5 years? And would it be helpful to work with a financial advisory team that can help you with some of those timing decisions?